Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your September 2015 Tarotscope. This is Gwendolyn, and I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been subscribing and liking and sharing my videos, as well as those of you who have been booking personal readings with me. Those have been really fun. And I also had one of my clients suggest a new format for video recordings, and she suggested a pre-recorded video. So I thought that was a great idea. And if anyone's interested in that, I can offer that for the hour-long or the half-an-hour-long video. So feel free, if you book a reading, just specify that you like a pre-recorded video, and I can always do that. Anyway, this is for Gemini for September 2015. Let's see what's in the cards for Gemini for this month. Okay, let me just make sure all these cards are in frame. Looks like we could just raise this a little bit. All right, I think that works. Okay, great. So, for the first part of the month, Gemini, what we have is Judgment, and then Seven of Swords, then Ace of Cups in reverse, and then Magician. So, there's a lot of, it's funny, you've got some swords energy, some cups energy, and then these are major arcana cards. In fact, you have 4, 5 major arcana cards. So September may be a big month for you, Gemini. At least there's going to be some sort of way in which the world seems new to you. Or the world, it's sort of like, this is very much a defining point. As you can see, if you look at this card, the top is all fire, and then the bottom is all, it's just sort of like stone and ghosts of the past. In the Rider-Waite, these are souls that have died and they're coming up for renewal. So this is like new fire, new life. This card has a lot of phoenix energy. So phoenix is the bird that, dies, the ashes fall down to the ground, and then it rises up again with fire. So it's a real resurrection card. It's a card of being reborn. It has new life to it. I always say that this card is a lot about forgiveness. Whether you're forgiving yourself or others, it's leaving the ghosts of the past behind. And so it's allowing for this new triumphant fire. It's renewal. It is new fresh energy, and it's leaving the baggage behind. So I'm going to say, if there's some way in which you can move on with your life, or start a new chapter, or basically leave old baggage behind, leave old grudges behind, if you can incorporate forgiveness for yourself and others, that's going to create like this new fire, this new life. I usually liken this card to volcano energy also, where the volcano has this fire that erupts from the top, and it spills over and creates all this new fresh land in the form of lava. And when it cools, it's like the old surface of the mountain is no longer there. It's buried, and now there's this new fresh fertile energy that covers everything. So that's what the beginning of the month of September opens up for you. It's really an opportunity for new life, through forgiveness, through renewal, through it's like being born again. When this card comes up. So also, if there's any like ghosts of the past, like addictions or problems, long-standing problems, you have an opportunity to renew them through fire right now. Cleanse and go through like a rebirth. This card is Seven of Swords. So this card is a card of feeling like you always have to do everything by yourself. It's kind of like, I call this card risky behavior. You can see in the depiction of the card that there were 7 swords, and he's stealing 5 of them away. And the reason he does this is because he's always doing whatever he has to do, whatever it takes, to get by. So sometimes this card can be about deception, trickery, thievery, criminal activity. It's really just like acting in a very risky way. And the reason that people do that sometimes is because they feel this desperation, or they feel like I've got to do whatever it takes at any cost. And I've got to steal these things away because I'm not going to be provided for any other way. There's nobody else who's looking out for me, so I'm going to look out for myself. And it's very lone wolf behavior. So it's like feeling like you have to do everything on your own. It's feeling like you have to take chances and risks and cut corners and all of that energy. So I'm going to invite you, Gemini, if you've been feeling like you need to do everything by yourself, ask for help. Or if you feel like you may have to be underhanded in order to get success, I'm going to invite you to say, maybe there's a way in which you can find a level-headed partnership or something like that, where you don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't have to take all these chances, take all these risks. This card to me says risky business. There's some way in which, maybe you're feeling like stepping out into a new life is kind of risky, or you feel like it's going to present some dangers to you, or there's just some way in which you might feel like it can't be trusted to turn your life around, or to begin this new journey, or take this chance. It feels like it's chancy to do this new renewal thing. And consequently, because you're not taking that risk, or you're taking too much of a risk, this card, this thing that you would love, your heart being filled, you're actually blocking it. Because this card I call my cup overfloweth, or my cup runneth over. You can see cups are about the emotions and the heart. And when Ace of Cups comes up, it's the world, the universe handing you something that is going to fill your heart. You can see this cup is filled and it's flowing over. It's got this dove of peace and renewal. But for some reason, you're blocking this. You're not receiving the cup that's being handed to you, the opportunity to have a new beginning. This Ace of Cups. Aces are new beginnings. So there's something, I think, related to this Seven of Swords, which is lone wolf, having to take a risk, feeling like you have to do everything by yourself. It's really like this guy's separate and cut off from the rest of society. He's not willing to participate with others. He just wants to go take care of his own thing and do it. That's kind of blocking you from having your heart filled. And because he's looking at this judgment, there may be like a harsh judgment that he's making about others, or he's holding on to a grudge. Perhaps he's not accessing forgiveness for either himself or someone else. So that's blocking his heart being filled. And then there's all this love and emotional fulfillment and joy, and even creativity available in this card, but it's being held in suppression. It's being held in shadow. It's not being allowed to come to the surface. So Gemini, consider what it is that Seven of Swords is representing for you, especially in light of how it could renew something, how it could move you from the ghosts of the past into new life, because that's blocking your heart being filled. Magician too says you have a lot of power right now. You have a lot of ability to focus your concentration and your consciousness to create what it is you want. Both of these cards are cards of tremendous creativity. As you can see, they're both like beginning cards. Magician is card 1 of the major arcana, and Ace of Cups is a beginning of something that you love. Creativity is in here. It's a new beginning. It's creating something new. Ace of Cups in reverse tells me you're blocking something that's going to fill your heart. But Magician says, I can create whatever I want. I have the personal power to direct my consciousness and my focus to take what is up in the realm of possibility and bring it down to earth, the realm of reality or actuality. So it's telling me that you can create what you want, Gemini. You have the power. You have all the resources available to you. You have the sword, which represents the mental state, wands, which represent fire or the vitality state. Cups represent the emotional world, the fullness of the heart. And coins represent like the physical world, material resources, everything that is like of matter. So you have all of those things in balance and you're able to create whatever you want. Try to decide where is it that you want to focus your will? Where do you want to harness your attention? Because you have, if magician is showing up for you, you have a certain amount of magic, a certain amount of you can make things happen right now. You can point to something and say, let it be. I want this to happen, and there it happens in front of me. So access this power of magician in the first part of September, because you have that creative force, that creative power at your disposal, Gemini. So you have this it's an invitation to how do you want to bring this Ace of Cups to you? How do you want your heart filled? You just have to decide what it is that you want to create. And that is available to you. First, there's also a lot of gold background cards here, which has to do with optimism and having a sunny disposition, just being optimistic about what it is that you want to create. So I'm going to invite you to access your own power through forgiveness, through leaving behind risky behavior, or being willing to take a risk. This is an interesting card because there's a high side and a low side to it. High side is being willing to take a chance, put your head in the tiger's mouth, is one of the meanings of this card. On the low side, it's criminal activity and deception. So which side of this card are you wanting to relate to or to access? And that's beginning of September for you, Gemini. Then in the middle of the month, gosh, this is really interesting. You've got Knight of Rods, who is someone who's usually very courageous and very gung-ho, and he can be kind of cocky. He can be kind of reckless. In the Rider-Waite, there's a picture of him up on the horse. It's rearing up on two legs. So Knights are all about balancing energies. They're usually very clever, romantic, playful, but they can also be a bit of a trickster. And because he's the Knight of Rods, which represents fire, he's the Knight of Fire, so it's a lot of cavalier energy. It's a lot of I'm just gonna like leap before I look kind of energy. But he's also very courageous and he's very daring. So he's balancing the energies between going for it and launching forward and being courageous, being cocky, being daring. And then also the low side of it is being cocky could also be considered being the low side of it. But being like foolhardy, being overly egotistical, overly, maybe a little bit arrogant. So the fact that he's looking away from the middle of the month tells me you may have conflict with someone who is like that. This can be a younger person. Like, for some reason I'm getting this could be a teenage son or daughter that is just like a fiery mentality. And fire often represents Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries. So this could be one of the fire signs. Or it could just be someone who has that kind of cocky disposition, like, I'm just going to go do it my own way. This kind of has that sort of teenage energy of like, I'm not listening to you, I'm being a rebel. It has a lot of rebel energy for me in relation to this month, Gemini. So if you're dealing with someone who's just being rebellious and cocky and defiant, that's what may be going on at the middle of the month. And you're kind of over it. This is saying you've had your last battle with it, you're at the end of your rope. This is bottoming out. This is sort of like, I've had so much on my plate. I've dealt with, all these swords are different ideas, different thoughts, different frames of mentality. And this is a card of like, it's always darkest before the dawn. You can see in this, the figure is pierced by all 10 swords and they're just done. 10 is a number of completion. So it's saying like you've bottomed out, you've hit rock bottom. Basically this chapter is dead. This chapter is completed and over. You can't take it anymore. So this could be, this card is sitting right in between this Jack of Clubs and the Lovers in reverse. So it could mean a number of different things. In some ways, all these three cards are related to one another. So one of the possible interpretations is that you used to be involved with someone, or you have been involved with someone who used to have a lot of like passion and vigor and fiery energy and sort of like going for it energy, and that perhaps you were lovers with them, and that this period is ending. They're looking away, they're headed away from the position, and you are at the end of your relationship. So if you are in relationship with someone who represents this, perhaps someone younger, perhaps someone who's a fire sign, Leo, Sag, Aries, and they're being rebellious and they're stepping away, this could represent what it means, is that you're bottoming out, you've hit bottom with your lover's relationship. Alternately, it could also mean that you and this person are separating and that you are now engaged with someone else in a lover's relationship, or there's an affair of some sort going on, and that it's causing you to have this bottomed out, just done, dead, almost feeling like discarded energy. So there's a number of different ways that can play out, Gemini. It could also just mean that things in a relationship are you're in this coupledom, but there's something about it, and maybe in relation to a younger person, that is just causing you to just feel exhausted and at the end of your rope. There is, however, someone available as an aid. This is Queen of Cups. So this is someone who is very intuitive. This is a water sign, so this is Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. And Queen of Cups is just a very gentle, very compassionate soul. She's connected to life of all things, or she's connected to, how the rest of the world, animals, children, basically life in all of its forms. And she is drinking from a cup that is sort of like connection to the spiritual world. So she may be a good ally or a good mentor. She's got some compassion for you in relation to whatever it is that's going on in the middle of the month that's causing you so much problems. This, again, card of bottoming out, this is relationship or lovers in reverse. So there's some sort of problem that is sourced at the relationship level, but may have to do with a younger, rebellious type. But she has some sort of words of advice, or at least compassion. She could be a good counselor to you, or she could be like a mother or a sister or an aunt, or even just like a very compassionate coworker. She tends to be in a position of authority because she's a queen figure. But if there's someone that you can go to talk to that is a water sign, or that has this gentle, sweet, compassionate energy, that's going to help you with what's going on in the middle of the month. She is definitely an ally to you, Gemini. So if you find that there's struggles going on in the middle of the month, or you find that you're having issues with like a cocky, rebellious, active fire sign, or a younger person. I don't know why I keep getting teenage imagery for this person, but I am. Or, Night is usually a younger person. Then if you're having some kind of altercation with something coming to an end related to a relationship or this younger person, or there's like a three-way dynamic going on here, third wheel energy, talk to this Queen of Cups, because she's going to have some insight. She's also very intuitive. So see if you can seek out, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, someone who's even just the archetype of a compassionate mother figure or authority figure. She's going to definitely help you with that, because she's looking at the whole situation. She has some insight on it. And then towards the end of the month, what's cool, what I really love to see is that this lover's energy, it actually, you can see in both of these cards, this shows a couple that is involved, they're sensual, they're passionate, and this card is vibrancy. This is the sun card. So here they're looking face to face, the sun is shining, these sunflowers are in bloom, and this card's right side up. So what this tells me is that with whatever conflicts you're having in the beginning parts of the month, like the first 2/3, because this card is a card of love and having your heart filled. This card is obviously also about love and relationships, lovers. Whatever conflicts you're having here and here, they're going to correct by the end of the month. And it's going to resolve into sunny vibrancy. This is a lot about self-acceptance. Same with this card. So this may be a month for you, Gemini, about how do you accept yourself regardless of what's going on, regardless of what your external situations may be, and how you feel like you have to kind of like always rely on yourself to get things done. By the end of the month, your relationship is going to be a solace for you, like solace as in SOLACE, like it's going to be a refuge. Or you may, if you're not in relationship, you may find that something blooms. You may be in a place of being really ready. You're actually going to just be shining your own radiance at the end of the month. And that's what Sun is about, you know, self-love. I'm 100% myself. Everything's going my way. It's one of the most positive cards in the deck. So it shows me things are going to go your way towards the end of the month. You will have to go through some struggle. It shows me that you may still you've got all this swords energy. This is 10 of swords and this is 9 of swords. So you may have some remnants of worries or concerns or anxiety or tension. That's what this card is. You may still have some remnants of that towards the end of the month about this whole situation that's happening in the middle of the month. The lesson of this card is don't make mountains out of molehills. Like in this card, the hands are bound, and that's the anxiety and tension. But really, there's only 3 swords that are really interacting with this person, and they're making it into 9 swords. So don't triple your problems by over worrying them. In the Rider-Waite, this card shows someone who is staying up at night in bed with their head in their hands, and they're just worrying and stressing. And you know, this card is saying don't overanalyze things. Don't make trouble where there isn't any. So, and it could be that you're thinking a lot about this person and how things are going to resolve. But one of the things that's going to help you is just setting firm boundaries. And this is a card of law and order. This is Emperor. This is someone who's in an authority position, someone who literally lays down the law and puts their foot down. This is also father figure energy. So there may be a way in which you could get direction from someone who is in a fatherly position, who lays down the law, lays down boundaries, provides leadership. He can kind of be somewhat inflexible. He can kind of be a little bit rigid, but he's also a great foundational card. So he's powerful, and he's also very strong. He's also like, he knows what the law is, and he's willing to enforce it. That's what Emperor energy is about. And it's one of the most masculine cards there is. So this is, you know, rely on whatever sort of authority of the masculine element that can help you towards not over worrying, overthinking things. Sometimes I think this card comes up when we are wavering between one thing or another, or we're going in circles in our head about something. And Emperor is able to say, no, this is the way it goes. I'm putting my foot down. My word is law. So that could be a way that you transition from all this anxiety and tension to this vibrancy. The sun is by saying, no, this is how it goes. This is what I'm saying. I'm not wavering. I don't have 2 or 3 or even 9 different thoughts about it. I have one thought about it. See how he has one sword, not 9 separate ones? He cuts through that. He says, no, this is, you know, you drive on a certain side of the street and it works. You don't go in multiple different directions, because that's when, you know, everything gets wrecked. So see if maybe just setting firm boundaries and foundations can help you go at the end of the month from over worrying things to just sunny radiancy, like staying by what it is that you see as law, and structure and order. That's something that he can really provide, is a lot of law, order, structure, foundation, boundaries, honoring boundaries, brings about the sun. So just if that can help you towards the end of the month, Gemini, setting forth strict boundaries can really be helpful to you. And then also after the sun radiant energy, you get to take a time out. This card is Four of Swords, and it depicts a soldier who has come from battle, and he's just resting. It's just like, resting, gathering strength, resting to fight another day. So once you get through all of this, Gemini, you're going to have like some nice positive returns, and then you'll kind of be able to breathe a sigh of relief and just rest from it for a while and say, oh, I'm so glad that that's done, or I'm so glad I've gotten through that. Because this is kind of like a dark night of the soul. This is kind of like a lot of tension and worry and anxiety and a lot of things on your mind. And the fact that you are a mental sign, Gemini, you often have a lot of ideas that go through your mind at once. When I think of Geminis, I often think of like switching from channel to channel very quickly. You guys have this quicksilver element to you, or like a frog jumping from lily pad to lily pad. But because this is all this heavy swords energy in reverse, it means that you might have a lot on your mind in September. But towards the end of the month, you're going to experience this sunny, radiancy through having set firm foundations and rules, and then you're going to be able to take a time out and just rest and collect and gather your strength. And this is Four of Swords, so it's just sort of like reflecting on things, thinking about things. This is more like, I just look at this as like when you check out and you're like in your room, or you're on like a day bed, and you're just sort of like that state between dreaming and being awake, where you just kind of like reflect on things or ponder on things. It's very much like a relaxation reflection card. So that's towards the end of the month for you, Gemini, when you've gone through all of this. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Feel free to comment. I always love replying to your comments, or if you have questions. And again, I just want to thank everyone who's been subscribing and liking and sharing. It's fun to watch this channel grow. So I really appreciate each and every one of you who's watching. Thanks so much.